What would you do if the world told you that you weren't good enough? What if after years of sacrifice you were tossed aside, forgotten, discarded, just when you were about to reach your dream? Would you accept defeat? Or would you fight back? This is the story of a fighter who had nothing, no wealth, no support, no guarantees, but he had two fists, and with them he punched his way out of the darkness. And when life tried to break him, he hit back harder. The bell rang, the crowd held its breath. In the center of the ring stood a lone warrior, his chest heaving, his body bruised but unbroken. His opponent wobbled, barely standing. Then, one final devastating left hook. The man collapsed. Silence. The referee raised his hand. Victory. Gold. But behind this triumph was a battle far greater than the one fought in the ring. Born into poverty, he was sent to an orphanage, not because he had no parents, but because they couldn't afford to keep him. He watched other children return home after school, running into their mother's embrace. He had no such comfort. Loneliness was his only companion. Hunger, his constant shadow. One day he saw older boys training in a makeshift boxing ring. Something about it stirred him. Maybe it was the way they punched, not just with their fists, but with their spirit. Maybe it was because for the first time he saw a way to fight back against life itself. His first time in the ring was brutal. Barefoot, his tiny hands swallowed by oversized gloves. The first punch sent him crashing to the ground. Pain burned through his ribs. He could have stayed down, but something inside him refused to break. He got up. That was the moment his journey truly began. Boxing became his obsession. He trained relentlessly. His fists bled, his body ached, but he never stopped. Then he discovered his greatest weapon, his left hook. A single strike could send opponents tumbling. Word spread about the boy with the devastating left hand. In 1997 at the King's Cup in Bangkok, he fought like a man possessed. Every punch carried years of pain. Every step in the ring was a step away from the life he had left behind. He won. Not just the match, not just the gold. He was declared best boxer of the meet. A boy from Manipur had conquered the ring. He made it to the national team. His future was set. Until disaster struck. At the last moment, without warning, his name was removed from the team. No explanation, no apology, no second chances. One day he was the nation's pride. The next, he was discarded. He sat alone, staring at his fists, the same fists that had fought so hard, only to be cast aside. But then something incredible happened. The news of his rejection spread, and the people refused to accept it. They were poor, just like him, but rupee by rupee, coin by coin, they raised money to send him forward. They didn't know if he would win. They only knew he deserved the chance. That faith became his fire. With the money raised by his own people, he trained harder than ever. And then, fate took a turn. He was recalled to the team. This time he wasn't just fighting for gold, he was fighting for the people who had fought for him. 1998 Asian Games, Bangkok. The best fighters from across Asia stood in his way. But there was one boxer who had more than just skill, he had something to prove. Blow after blow, round after round, he fought like a man possessed. His opponent wavered. And then, with one final left hook, it was over. The referee raised his hand. He had won. The gold medal gleamed around his neck, but he knew this victory wasn't just his. It belonged to every person who had believed in him. And only then, as the national anthem played, did the world finally recognize his name. Ngangom Dingko Singh. Life will knock you down, people will betray you. But if you believe in yourself, and if even one person believes in you, fight back. Because the greatest comebacks come from the hardest falls. What's one challenge in your life that you refuse to give up on? Let me know in the comments. For more motivational stories, follow Unstoppable Mindset.